It's important when you're out shooting photos to put together into photo stories for this class that you consider anecdotes. Think back about when you learned about feature writing or any kind of non-inverted pyramid style writing. You learned about anecdotes. You learned that you can take within a bigger story a smaller story and you can squish it in there. You can have a beginning, a middle, and an end of a smaller piece of a story that's within the larger umbrella of a theme. And you can do that same thing in photojournalism. So when you're shooting your photos out on assignment, or when you're editing your photos, when you're picking which 20 you want to start with, or which 10, or which 5 you want to have in your final assignment, look for smaller stories within the larger story. Look for photos that complement each other based on action, based on setting, or based on subject. That as a small piece of a story helps tell a larger story. These end up making the difference sometimes between an okay or a pretty good photo story and a great photo story. So let's look at some student examples first. This is an assignment that was turned in earlier, or last semester, and it is of someone who was training for a marathon, or for a triathlon rather. And so here they were at the pool training for the aquatic portion of it. So they had this, first the photograph of this sort of funny looking snorkel, which I had later explained to me was a racist snorkel. They had that put on first, and then there's the photograph of them at a distance actually sort of hustling through the swimming portion. These were just two photographs of a larger photo story that had the subject running on treadmills, riding on a bicycle, eating sometimes strange looking healthy food. But these are just two photographs that work together of them in the pool exercising to get ready for their triathlon. This is part of a photo story on local elections last year. It's a photograph of a local politician the moment that he had found out he had won his race. Of course, he's sort of emotional. The woman next to him is supporting him. It's a really lovely photograph. But the photographer backed away for a moment and grabbed a picture of someone who was taking a picture of the exact same scene, but on their smartphone. These two photographs work together nicely as an anecdote. This is one of my favorite early examples of good anecdote work. It was a photo story that was done on the ever frustrating problem of first week parking or early semester parking. This was done during the first few weeks of classes in a previous semester. So we have our one shot of the cars all lined up trying to get into the parking garage, and then we have our follow-up photo that was right next to it in the photo story, from a safely taken from a rearview mirror of the line of cars then behind them. These two photographs work together to complement and help tell a smaller story within a larger story. So consider that when you are working on your stories. You can do this at the planning stage as you sketch out what kind of shots you want to get, what kind of subjects and settings you want, but you can also do it at the editing stage, picking and choosing good examples. So this was some student examples, and next we'll take a look at some professional examples.